Hello, this is a video on how to time up, ignition time up a Sash 250 7-speed engine, 2-stroke engine. This particular engine's in an EMC, about a 77, and the ignition type is a Motoplat, which I think was the original ignition on these Sash engines. Now, I'm not an expert on 2-stroke Sash, but from what I can gather, I'd just like to give a bit of an update on how to time one of these up. Now, when you put on Google what's the actual ignition timing, it's basically 1.8 to 3.2 millimeters before top dead center. I'm more than thinking it's at least 2.2 to 3.2, so I'm going to set this at 2.5 millimeters before top dead center. So what you need to do first of all is get a dial gauge like this one on a mag base, and get a little it's like you screw it into the spark plug threads, and it's a little plunger. So what you can do, first thing you've got to do is find top dead center, and once you've done that, so basically if you put the flywheel on, just make sure you line up the flywheel. Just put the flywheel on first of all onto the Woodruff key, which is I think more or less there. Right, and then you get your DTI, dial test indicator, and you turn it until you find top dead center. There you go, there's top dead center, and then you zero the clock, and then you wind back 2.5 millimeters, or a little bit further back, and then bring it back for allow to any backlash in the actual crank pin, timing gear. So basically this is an imperial dial indicator, so 39 thou is 1 millimeter. So go back, so that's 1 millimeter, that's 2 millimeters, and then to zero is 2.5 millimeters. But I'll go further back than that and then bring it back up to zero, like so. And once you've done that, that's about 2.5 millimeters before top dead center. Now we can go 3.2 millimeters, but it's a little bit of guesswork until I've run the engine and to see what the actual net result of the running condition is. So once you've done that, you then go to the flywheel, and as you can see there's a little pinhole, and that pinhole actually needs to line up with the actual stator itself. Now if you shine a light inside, you can actually, you can actually see through the hole there the corresponding pin. So what you do is you get your 2 millimeter drill, and then you slide that 2 millimeter drill in, and then it's supposed to line up, and as you can see that's lined up now with the flywheel and the stator, and the dial gauge is at 2.5 millimeters. Now if you wanted it 3.2, then you'd have to take the flywheel off and rotate the stator anti-clockwise a little bit more, nip it back up, and then set your dial indicator at 3.2, which is obviously another anti-clockwise on the actual dial gauge, and then slide your 2 millimeter drill into the flywheel and line the hole up with the stator. So that's the net result of timing the Sash engine up. As I say, I'm not an expert on Sash engines, but reading in the instructions and getting some good advice off the Cotton EMX and EMC Facebook page, I get the gist of it, and I thought I'd just make this video just to give other people the heads up on how to time them up. I've had this alternator repaired at Bradford Ignitions in the UK, which are on the south coast. Absolutely first class service. There was a fault with the stator, but this guy at Bradford Ignitions, he tests the stator and he'll test the coil. So if you have to send the stator on your bike off for repair, send everything, send the coil, the stator, the flywheel, and he'll actually test it, and he'll tell you whether it's working or not, and he'll repair it with a very efficient service. Absolute first class. But that's just a brief video on timing a Sash 257 speed motor up. Hope you enjoyed it. More videos possibly coming along very soon.